The UAE once looked untouchable, but war has reached here. It is no longer a distant threat on the map, nor merely another headline passing across a screen. It has entered reality through drone attacks near Dubai International Airport, disrupted flights, missile alerts over the city, and strikes that have shaken the country's energy infrastructure. For a nation built on order, speed, and the display of ambition, that shock cannot be taken lightly. But the UAE is not only a front line of anxiety. Behind those warnings and tensions still lies a land of astonishing contrasts, where futuristic towers rise from the desert, ancient forts quietly watch over the sea, red dunes burn beneath the evening light, and tranquil coastlines continue to hold their allure. That contradiction is what makes the UAE so remarkable. A country that feels the pressure of war, yet still compels the world to look its way because of its beauty, ambition, and a scale that few places can match. Dubai is the image most people know first. A city of glass towers, wide highways, bright marinas, luxury hotels, and a skyline that seems to rise straight out of the desert. By day, sunlight burns across steel and mirrored facades. By night, the city becomes a field of lights, traffic, fountains, and moving reflections. The Burj Khalifa stands above it all like a vertical symbol of ambition, turning the entire skyline into a statement. But Dubai is more than height and wealth. What makes it so powerful is contrast. Behind the towers lies heat, dust, and open land. Along the coast, traditional boats still cross the water, while super yachts rest in modern harbors. It is this collision of desert, sea, and design that gives Dubai its identity. The city does not try to hide its ambition. It displays it openly in concrete, glass, water, and light, as if determined to show the world what can be built where few once expected anything to rise at all. Before the towers, before the giant malls, before the global image of luxury, there was the creek. Old Dubai still carries the atmosphere of the city's earlier life. Wooden abras move slowly across the water. Traditional dhows sit near the banks. Narrow streets wind through Al Fahidi, where sand-colored walls, wooden doors, shaded courtyards, and old wind towers create a quieter version of the city. Here, Dubai feels less like a spectacle and more like a memory. The textures change. Stone replaces glass. Shade replaces glare. The sound of traffic gives way to footsteps, water, and voices in tight alleys. This part of the city matters because it reminds you that Dubai did not begin as a fantasy of the future. It began as a trading settlement shaped by merchants, sailors, heat, and movement. Long before the skyline reached upward, the creek connected Dubai to older worlds across Arabia, Persia, India, and East Africa. The city's confidence today feels different once you see where it began. If Dubai feels fast, Abu Dhabi feels calm. The capital has wider roads, more open space, and a slower visual rhythm. It does not rely on density to create impact. Instead, it uses scale, symmetry, and light. That is why Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque feels so central to the image of Abu Dhabi. White marble glows under the sun. Long colonnades stretch across open courtyards. Reflecting pools catch the architecture and double its silence. From above, the mosque looks balanced and exact. From the ground, it feels immense, yet peaceful. Abu Dhabi's beauty comes from this sense of control. Palm-lined boulevards, waterfront roads, formal gardens, and clean modern buildings all contribute to a city that appears measured rather than rushed. Even its landmarks feel composed. In a region often imagined through tension and heat, Abu Dhabi offers another visual language. White stone, still water, open sky, and an atmosphere that feels almost ceremonial. It is not dramatic in the same way Dubai is. It is powerful in a quieter, more disciplined way. The UAE is not only building cities, it is also building meaning. That becomes clear in Abu Dhabi's cultural landmarks, where architecture is designed not just to impress, but to shape identity. Louvre Abu Dhabi rises beneath its vast geometric dome, where sunlight filters through patterned metal and falls in moving fragments across water, walkways, and stone. The building itself already tells a story before you enter it. Nearby, Qasr Al Watan presents another side of the country: grand halls, white facades, chandeliers, arches, and ceremonial interiors that turn state power into visual theater. These places matter because they show that the UAE wants to be seen as more than a center of business and luxury. It wants to be read as a place of culture, order, heritage, and ambition. For a documentary, This creates powerful contrasts. Modern museum lines, traditional Islamic geometry, marble halls, curated public spaces, and carefully framed symbols of national identity. In the UAE, image is never incidental. It is designed, polished, and presented with purpose. Then the image of the UAE begins to break open. Leave the coast and drive inland, and the country becomes rock, road, and distance. Hatta feels like a different chapter entirely. The skyline disappears. In its place come mountains, reservoirs, winding roads, dry valleys, and open ridges under hard light. The colors shift from silver and blue to brown, rust, and deep green water held between stone slopes. Here, the UAE no longer looks futuristic. It looks geological. Kayaks move across the calm surface of Hatta Dam. Mountain bikes pass along rough trails. Cars climb through narrow bends with cliffs on both sides. This is the side of the country many outsiders do not expect, and that is exactly what makes it valuable in a documentary. Hatta breaks the stereotype. It shows that the UAE is not only a place of towers and luxury, but also a place of terrain, elevation, and silence. Once you see these mountains, the country feels larger, older, and more varied than the familiar postcard version. In Leewa, the desert is no longer background. It becomes the entire frame. The dunes rise in long, sweeping walls of sand, shaped by wind into curves, ridges, and sharp edges that change with the light. At sunrise, the colors are soft gold. By late afternoon, they deepen into orange, red, and bronze. At sunset, the land seems to glow from within. There are few places in the UAE where scale feels so simple and so overwhelming at the same time. Cars move slowly across the open sand. A lone road cuts through emptiness. A camp appears small against the horizon. Footprints vanish quickly. Liwa is powerful because it strips the country back to its oldest visual truth. Before the towers and airports, there was this landscape of heat, distance, and survival. And even now, it remains one of the most striking images the UAE can offer. For stock-based storytelling, Leewa gives everything a documentary needs. Aerial dunes, close textures of sand, drifting wind, long shadows, desert roads, and a sense of vastness that no city can compete with. In the north, the UAE rises again, but this time through mountain stone instead of architecture. Jebel Jais offers one of the country's most dramatic road journeys. The asphalt climbs in long curves along steep slopes, revealing deep valleys, rock faces, lookout points, and layered ridgelines fading into the distance. It is a landscape made for wide shots. The higher you go, the more the Federation changes character. The air cools. The light becomes sharper. The horizon stretches farther. Below, the roads look delicate against the scale of the mountain. There is very little softness here. The beauty comes from exposed rock, depth, and elevation. For a stock footage documentary, Jebel Jais works especially well because every angle gives a clear image. Driving shots, aerial mountain curves, cliffside views, morning haze, sunset over stone, and small human movement against a huge natural setting. It reminds the viewer that the UAE is not only defined by the sea and the desert. It also has a hard, elevated edge that feels ancient and physically commanding. On the eastern side of the country, the mood changes once more. Fujairah opens to the Gulf of Oman, and the entire coastline feels different because of it. Here, mountains press closer to the sea, and the landscape becomes a meeting point between rock and water. The beaches are calmer, the roads quieter, and the atmosphere less polished than the big western cities. But that is precisely its appeal. Fujairah offers a softer, more grounded version of the UAE. Fishing boats move near the shore. Waves break against darker sand and stone. Historic forts stand back from the coast. Diving sites, coastal roads, and small waterfront scenes create a visual rhythm that feels less engineered and more natural. This side of the country is important because it completes the national picture. Without it, the UAE can seem like a place made only of skyline, desert, and wealth. Fujairah adds another layer: maritime, coastal, and understated. It gives the Federation a different kind of beauty, one built not on spectacle, but on contact between sea, mountain, and quiet human presence. By the end of this journey, the UAE begins to look less like a single image and more like a collection of powerful contrasts. It is a country of skylines and silence, marble and sand, mountain roads and coastal calm, old forts and futuristic towers. It lives under the pressure of a difficult region, yet continues to project confidence through architecture, scale, and design. That is what makes it so compelling. The war may have come closer, but the country's visual power has not disappeared. Dubai still flashes against the desert night. Abu Dhabi still glows in white stone and still water. Hatta still cuts into the mountains. Liwa still burns in evening light. Jebel Jais still rises above the north. Fujairah still faces the open sea. The UAE was never remarkable because it stood outside history. It is remarkable because it built beauty and ambition inside history's shadow and turned that contradiction into one of the most visually striking identities in the modern Middle East.